state-controlled commissions and committees. That's a little bit more complex. That's going to require some more investigations in where the breakdown is as far as DCS and CPS, prior CPS related issues. Apparently there's a lot of families that have been dealing with that. Again, it falls back to something similar to HB 2050 bill that I had authored back in 2016. So I believe those three are priority. The third one is a lot broader because it is basically about accountability to our Constitution and how it's going to be enforced, and the enforcers basically holding them accountable to ensure that they are enforcing it rather than allowing local governments and state commissions and committees to drift away from constitutional jurisdictions and boundaries.
Public education, water sustainability, trade and commerce, economic development. I think those go hand in hand. Public education, as again, I described what I believe public education is about, and what public education and why I want to address this is because of the funding and also how we as a legislature continues to cut funding to our schools. So public education is very important, and it's very broad because there's a lot of levels in that. Water sustainability. My constituents come to me and they say, I have three concerns. I have concerns about contamination, depletion, and subsidence. And those are the things that when I talked about DCP, the drought contingency plan, but also we have to continue to talk about that is surface water. We have to talk about groundwater and how we as a legislature can address that in the long term. And so trade and commerce and economic development. I had the opportunity to actually go with a delegation of over 20 representatives and senators to Mexico City and Guanajuato to talk about trade and commerce and how we can continue to build our relationships with Mexico. So again, those three priorities is something that I will look towards, I will continue to talk to, but there's so many issues, but those are my top three. Thank you.
Could you repeat the question?
What are your top three priorities when you go to the legislature?
Oh, my top three priorities.
Oh, what you're hearing is important to people because you are representing.
Yeah, okay, so that's what I was because I was thinking about that and I go, I've never knocked on a door and somebody mentioned subsidence as their top issue. But I get it, okay, so it's the top priorities for us. All right, and what we're hearing. Obviously, education is the conversation of the day. And I don't know when I'm knocking on doors, I don't know whether that's because I introduced myself as a teacher and it turned that way or that was the top on their priority, but it certainly is the top of my priority. Long-term, having a conversation about how we restructure the financing system based upon a common vision of what we want education to look like, and that's important. Not just more money, but actually a common vision of what we want education to look like. And in the short term, obviously funding of fourth year JTED or career and technical education, and keeping the promise that was made in the last legislative session. Those are the two short-term goals. Infrastructure is a key one. We've got to see some money for IOI and the interstates come to our district. So that's the second key priority. And then fixing some of the governance issues that we have in our local communities is going to be a key issue as well. It can be on top of my priority list.
Jobs in the economy, number one. We talked about that earlier. The high unemployment, the high poverty levels here in our community are critical to our continued success. So finding opportunities for jobs, as I indicated to you earlier, I am already working on opportunities to move the traffic through the Port of Mariposa, and I will continue to do that. That will increase the number of trucks that can get through and the jobs. I also indicated to you, so this one's gonna address two issues: education. I am on the Business and Industry Council of JTED. I believe that if we can bring in new industry, so aerospace is a priority for me. If we can bring in new industry, we'll be able to add jobs as well as create educational opportunities. And the third one is public safety. I believe that the IOI issue is a public safety issue. I've spoken with the Realtors Association in Santa Cruz County, and they have said if that implodes, if there's a breach, it will be an environmental hazard, the likes we've never seen. And I would like to just close that statement by saying, and I want to have a seatmate that will work with me as I'm doing all of those things.
Okay, a couple people slipped in who I want to acknowledge real quick. One is my boss, the publisher, Drew Sanchez. Where is she? Raise your hand, right there. And then I believe Mayor Tom Murphy of Saudi.
I thought you were saying I was your boss.
Yeah, you just think you are. Anyway, and so I want to thank you on behalf of the Green Valley News, Saudi, the Sun, and the Nogales International. Thank you for being here, and this is not easy, so let's give these folks a hand.